The Old Testament reading and sermon text for today from Exodus chapter 16. The whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had come out of Egypt. In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted, but you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death." Then the Lord said to Moses, "I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the sixth day they are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days." So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, "In the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we that you should grumble against us?" Moses also said, "You will know that it was the Lord when he gives you meat to eat in the evening and all the bread you want in the morning, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we? You are not grumbling against us, but against the Lord." Then Moses told Aaron, "Say to the entire Israelite community, 'Come before the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling.'" While Aaron was speaking to the whole Israelite community, they looked toward the desert, and there was the glory of the Lord appearing in the cloud. The Lord said to Moses, "I have heard the grumbling of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God." That evening quail came and covered the camp. And in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the dew was gone, thin flakes like frost on the ground appeared on the desert floor. When the Israelites saw it, they said to each other, "What is it?" For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Hey, how's it going? What? No, you can have all of this. I'm done. I've already got my 5 omers. Yeah, 1 omer per family member. That's what Aaron said, Moses said, God said. How much you got there? Like half an omer? No problem at all. I'll keep you company while you pick, and then we'll head back to camp together. For sure. You're good. I got you. What? Oh, yeah, manna, right? What even is this stuff? Oh, you're really asking. Not just saying the word that we came up with in Hebrew, which means, what is it? The word manna or manna. You actually want to know. You're asking me what this is. Well, I mean, it's bread. That's what Aaron said, Moses said. God said it was. It's bread. That's what they called it. So that's what it is. Nutritious, delicious, ready-to-eat bread right there on the desert floor. It's bread. No, you're right. We don't have to bake it. Yep. So, okay, yeah, we gather it like fruits or vegetables. No, yeah, you're right. I wouldn't exactly call this foraging, but no, we're not doing any of the things that we would do in the process of making bread. Nor do we buy it off of the people who do make bread, nor do we do any of the things with it that we do with bread. So it's not, okay, bread, but it's bread. It's food. It's good food. It's simple food. Sustaining food, and it's already a staple of our diets. Without it, we would die, right? It's the bare minimum of food, and yet it's tasty and plentiful. And what do you call it when you have a good food that is minimal yet wonderful and keeps everybody going? It's bread. Bread. Not bread, but, manna bread. That's what it is. Is this what we were asking for? Now, that's a good question. I can tell that you're a thinker. No, I remember what we were asking for. I mean, I remember us complaining a lot. What would anyone expect, right? This many people out here in the wilderness. We got hungry, and when you get hungry, you say things you don't mean. Things that are not true. Things that are shameful to say, or even to think. We complained about food, but we were really asking for new and better leadership. And that's not exactly what we got, is it? We got bread. But I think we got lucky, or maybe there's a better word for it. Think about it. If God is our real leader, then He's what we were really complaining about. Moses and Aaron pointed that out to us. And it really stuck with me, because who are they? They are us. We are them. But their leader and ours is God. And if we're complaining about Him, then we're really asking for it, aren't we? Not bread or leadership. We're asking for punishment. If we come at God by coming at His representatives, and that's a scary thought, isn't it? But that's what we were doing. Criticizing God. So is this punishment? Brother, sister, does this feel like being punished to you? An all-you-can-eat quail buffet every night and a breakfast that makes itself and is ready when we get up. Future civilizations will wish they had it as good as we have it now. This isn't punishment. This is providence. This is God taking care of us. This is love. So yeah, it's not what we deserve. It's not what we were asking for, nor what we were asking for, if you know what I mean. It's nice. It's a kindness that breaks the laws of nature to provide for us. Complaining as we were, we should have been sent back to Egypt to be punished as runaway slaves. We should have starved. We should not have been heard at all. And when Aaron said that Moses said that God said that He was listening, I was terrified because of what we do deserve. But then we got this. So much better. So is it discipline? Yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe that's the right word for it. God is definitely teaching us something here, right? I can tell you that right now. I know that for sure. The question is what? Right? Well, what is He teaching us? That food magically appears when you complain? We both know that that's not the lesson. I mean, the lesson has to be something that we couldn't learn in another way. That something that we weren't learning, and so we complained, Something like that. What? No, I don't remember. What did he say? Aaron said that Moses said that God said He was testing us. That's right. I had forgotten. Good memory on you. What? So, God said He was testing us to see if we would follow His instructions. No, you're right. He would already know that, wouldn't He? He is God, after all. Well, then He wants us to see whether or not we'll obey. He wants us to see that if we listen, we eat. If we listen, we get what we need. No, you're right. We get what we need either way. Right, so maybe it's more that whatever we need has to come from Him. So there's no hope without Him, and there's no worry with Him. And so there's no reason to complain. Yeah, that makes sense. This is hard, Is this bread a metaphor? No, I know what a metaphor is. I understand your question. A metaphor is using one thing to say something about another thing, right? Okay, so is manna a representation of something else? I think you're onto something there, my brother, sister. Yeah, and we can head back to camp and I'll walk with you now that you're done. But does this bread represent something else? I mean, it's first and foremost, and obviously, food, right? You're not asking if it's not really food. You're asking if it might also be something else. Because we had a need, right? We needed food, but we complained. We even blamed God, if we're being honest. We blamed God that we need food. And then what did He do? He gave us food. He met the need. Not because we asked, we didn't. We just criticized, but he met our need, and in a way in which we cannot participate, in a way we could only receive, in a way that forced us to trust him. So he didn't really address the complaint, except to remove from us any room for complaining. He replaced the complaint with trust. If that's not a metaphor, then I don't know what is. If God isn't concerned with more than just food, then I don't know what he's doing here. Yes, there's a lesson for us to learn. More, though, there's an invisible God who wants to be seen. I guess what I'm saying is that what this is a question. The little question that has become the name for this bread or whatever, manna, what is it? I don't think that's an accident. What if that's like the point? No, I know the point is that we eat and don't die. I get that. But the quail meets that need, and we all know what quail is. Why does God meet that need also with something we don't understand, with something we can barely describe, with something that doesn't even match the words that we already have? And so we have to invent a new word for it. And the word we invented is just the question itself, because we're not very creative. We're very confused. We're puzzled by what this even is. So we ask, what is it every time? We've been eating it for what, days now? Has it been weeks? Will it be years? In 1,400 years, I bet you we will still be calling it manna. I bet people in other parts of the world, thousands of years from now, will still be calling it manna. Mark my words. Why? Because asking what this is the point. Asking what this is gets at the point of us being a nation at all. Asking what this is part of the gift from God. God does a thing. God does it over and over again, or he never doesn't do it, however you want to think about it. God does a thing, and he gives us both the thing and the question. What is it? He gives us the thing, and he gives us a chance to ask ourselves what it is, because we have a need to not die. And we don't die because we don't eat. We don't die because we don't have shelter. We don't die because of snakes or drought or war or for any other reason. We only die because of sin. We only die because of our need for not sin. That is our greatest need, and it's why we complain. Because we're going to die. Because we sin. But because we sin, we cannot complain without sinning. We can't get anything without sinning. We can't need anything without sinning. We can't call evil evil without blaming God for it because we're sinners. Sin is what we are complaining about. We're complaining about our need, but sin means that we can't complain about sin without sinning. We can't need a solution to sin without sinning our way so far away from a solution that we can't even see it. We've sinned our way into a wilderness of sin in which we should suffer and die, complaining all we want. But what does God do? He meets our need. Like the quail, God gives us things that we get, things we understand and know the names of. He gives us sacrifices. He gives us priests. He gives us Moses and Aaron and things that make sense to us, and he uses these things to show us our need and to show us that this need must be met or we die. So other things die. Sheep, bulls, doves, they die, and God teaches us about our death. They die, and God teaches us about our sin and about himself. That if we are going to have anything we can use in this fight against sin, it has to come from him. Our whole religion comes from him. But besides that, no, I'm over here. You're going over there. Let me finish my point, and then you can go. Besides that stuff that teaches us and disciplines us and makes sense, there's the part that makes no sense to us at all. The manna of it, if you will. The question, what is it? We don't understand it, but it feeds us. We don't do anything to get it, but it's ours, and we all the more we have so much more than we need. We have freedom to mess it up, but not to improve upon it or add to it or do anything with it except use it to sustain the life that God has to already have given us. Brother, sister, does that remind you of anything else? Something older, maybe, than our religion? The thing upon which our religion is based? The promise. The promise of Mashiach. That's the Hebrew word for chosen one. You know that. But what's the Hebrew word for Savior? Jesus. I think this manna is Jesus. God does a thing, and He has to make sense out of it for us. We need food. We need to be saved from starvation, and He feeds us. And He makes sense of food for us by growing it all around us. And when it makes sense to us, God then lets us grow food for us. But we also need saving from sin, too. We need righteousness. And He saves us, and that makes no sense. And it never will. It's not what we asked for. It's not what we deserved. It's not what should happen at all. But the promise. God says that He will do it. So He will. We can be so sure of that, even without understanding it, that we can live now like it has already happened. We can live now like we can get up every morning, walk out of the tent, and find it. Better, it's there waiting for us. We don't make it, we just take it and it's ours. This food works that way, God works that way. Our Savior works that way too. When we get up in the morning, we already have Him. We don't make Him, we just take Him. And He's ours. And what should we do with Him? We should ask the question, Manna, what is it? Bread but not bread. Not what we were asking for or what we were asking for, but what we need. Not punishment, but the opposite, providence, even love. Yes, discipline like something to be learned, but more, another reason to trust the God who disciplines. It's salvation, nothing less. I think that God gave us this so that we would do this. Now take and eat, yeah, and ask, and wonder, and let God answer. He's saving us over and over again, or He never doesn't do it, however you want to think about it. All He ever does is save us. All He ever does is love us. And that love is confusing because it doesn't work like ours, because it actually works. God's confusing love saves. What is it? If it is from God, then it is love. If it is from God, then we need it. If it is from God, then it points to our salvation. What is it? This bread from heaven? It's Jesus. Amen. Please stand.
Hey gang, it's Ethan. Thanks for listening. That bonus episode you just heard was a sermon I preached a couple weeks ago here at Bethel, and it seemed dust and breath-like, so it came onto the feed here. Also as an apology for how few episodes there have been lately. I've been hearing from people that they like the show periodically, which makes me want to keep going, but I've also been, I don't know, busy's not the right word for it. We're always busy. Everybody's always busy. It's more just unsure of what this is even for. But it'll continue to exist until I figure out that it's for something that I don't want to do anymore. So there will be more episodes coming up. Reach out in the meantime, Dust and Breath Pod at gmail.com is the best way to get actually in touch with me, and I'm hoping that you'll hear from me soon. Okay, bye.